Hey guys, this is Keith, our inspector. He just finished with the crawl space and the attic. Found a couple of issues in both that he's going to go over. He's going to hit the highlights of his inspection, and then kind of give you an assessment of how your home compares to other inspections that he does. You did how many last week? 7 or 10?
10.
Yeah. So he sees a lot of houses in the market. He's used to the things that he sees that are related to climate and what have you. So without any more running of my mouth, I'll let Keith go ahead and tell you what he found.
Alrighty, guys. So I'm just going to touch on I'm not going to cover missing window screens. That'll all be in the report for you. So we'll just kind of go over some of the other stuff. Roof overall 9 to 12 years old, I believe. You're getting the typical granular loss you would expect to find with that age. On the front side of the house, we did have a few damaged shingles. They're right on the gutter edge, so I would recommend having a roofer look at that. It's probably something you're going to want to repair. Otherwise, that water could wick back up into the sheeting.
That's that thing I took the picture of, guys.
We had 3 of our plumbing vent boots. It's the rubber gasket that kind of seals that plumbing vent up. Some of those are split and damaged, so I would also repair those. They're fairly cheap, pretty easy to replace, but it's going to prevent that from becoming a leak source. In the garage, we had, there is one hole right by the fireplace, the concrete block fireplace, which I believe we're probably getting rodents in there. We do have evidence of rodents in the crawl space and in the attic. There's some damaged insulation because of that. Overall, the crawl space, the framing looks good. It's good and dry, no sign of leaks. I would make sure everything's sealed up, maybe contact a pest company just to make sure we get them all out of there, get everything sealed up the way it should be. There is past evidence of a leak around the chimney. There's a little bit of damaged drywall. That flashing, as the roof gets older, that flashing can start to fail. So you do want to either use caulk or you have a roofer maybe install new flashing just to keep that sealed.
Did the leak look old or new?
It looks old. It doesn't.
Okay. So potentially from before this roof was put on?
It looks like
okay.
It's not active. Let's see, garage door, just some typical stuff. Overall, the flooring's in pretty good shape. The wood flooring, there are a couple areas, a little bit of staining, which is pretty common with the age. A couple spots when they put the clear finish down, the guy stepped in it, so it might need to be sanded out. It's kind of a typical thing. Let's see, a couple doors that bind and rub, that's also an adjustment issue. Insulation in the attic, at one point they have upgraded it, just from people working up in that attic. It's compressed in some spots, so you might consider actually upgrading, adding a little bit more.
I'm a big advocate of that, and we can talk about that. My wife and I own a home of about this age. Actually, it's a little older. And the first thing we did when we bought it was added a bunch of insulation to the attic, and I did the work myself.
It'll save you on your power bill.
Yeah.
In the utility bath, toilets function properly, no sign of leaks. They have removed the control for the water supply lines to the sink, so we're not able to test those. I would have someone install that just to make sure we're getting good water flow. We did get good hot water everywhere. The water heater's fairly new. It's installed properly. Let's see, hall bath. Our drain line, it's the proper drain line. They don't have it connected correctly. It's kind of a poor repair. It's not leaking, but I would get that all connected properly, or it could leak at you at some point. Bathtub drains a little slowly in the hall bath. More than likely some debris, hair. It's pretty typical. I would start with typical drain cleaners. For the shower in the hall bath, the diverter that basically turns your tub off, gives you your shower. The shower does come on, but we do get a pretty significant spray still from the tub itself. It's not that big of a deal, but the gasket in there is probably starting to fail. Our electrical panel is a Federal Pacific. The wiring in it looks fine. That model of panel, we actually do recommend you have an electrician take a look at it. The breakers had a history of not tripping when they should, or they trip and you can't reset them. So it would be good to have an electrician just double check that for you. So from the rear left bedroom all the way through to the living room, some reverse polarity outlets. What that means is your hot and neutral, when they installed it, they're backwards. So that's a matter of having someone pull that receptacle out, swap those wires back properly, and then just reseat the junction box. Furnace, fired it up, get even heat throughout. It hasn't been serviced since 2014, so I would recommend having a service visit done on that. Furnace filter's dirty. Overall, the chimney is in pretty good shape. We do have a little bit of brick deterioration. It's not going to affect the functionality. I
took a picture of that.
I would also consider putting a rain cap and a spark screen on it. The rain cap's going to prevent water getting in there in the winter and freezing and causing damage. Insulation. Overall, siding is in very good shape. The only place I found any decay was front right corner by the garage. It's about the size of a baseball. That should be easily repaired. A little bit of gutter edge fascia decay. That's also front right and rear right. It's not a huge concern right now. They repaired it. They repaired it with caulk, but it's sealed up, so I wouldn't really be worried about it that much. And that is about it. There's a couple other little things like some light bulbs, but I think overall, a lot of what we found is what you expect to find on a home this age, like the Federal Pacific panel. Rodents are pretty much a maintenance item. You got to keep your house sealed.
Well, and our climate here is very, very conducive to small furry things.
My house is 18 years old. I've had to fight them off 3 times.
Yeah.
So you keep everything sealed up. Try to.
Yeah. Well, we think there was a little old lady that lived here, and she probably had pets, and pet food is what attracts them. So, anyway, go ahead, Key. I don't know if you're wrapping up.
I think overall that's covering the bigger points. If you do have any questions after you read my report, I'll have it out to you first thing in the morning. You can give me a call or let Phil know. Phil can call me and ask the question for you. Phil's got a pretty good idea of what's going on too, so some of that he might be able to answer himself. So
yeah, and then keep in mind, guys, when you get Keith's report, he inspects the home as if he was inspecting a brand new house, and when he inspects brand new houses, he tends to come back with a pretty good report anyway on the contractor. So
I've never, even with a new home, I've never had a perfect home.
Yeah. So anyway, there's going to be a lot of it's all negatives, and there's a lot of negatives. But overall, where would you put this?
Overall,
out of 10, out of your last 10 inspections.
My last 10, this was a fairly easy inspection.
Okay. All right. Well, I didn't mean to put you on the spot
things
like that.
Structural things that we're mainly looking for, I'm not finding.
Got it.
The electrical, okay, we want an electrician to look at that, but no signs of settlement. Roof 9 to 12 years old, but it's not end of life. So,
okay.
Some deferred maintenance items, things like that.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Talk to you soon, guys.